Hi, and welcome to another video on Spline Kit Pro. Today we're going to talk about rotation blend nodes and how to use those. If you take a look at the scene I've got here, I've got a car and he's on a track and we've got him attached to a spline. And he basically is just going to drive around this track. You may notice that I've got some acceleration in here, a couple of trigger nodes that maybe kick up some dust over here. Ignore those for right now. We're just going to look at the rotation nodes. The trigger nodes we're going to cover in another video. But let's say that we wanted to have this car come into a drift around this corner here. Okay? So how do we do that? Well, we're going to create a rotation blend node, and we'll select our spline here, and we'll get our add nodes down here, and we'll drag this little thing around where we would like to start our custom rotation. I'm going to start it right here at this yellow box, which is a trigger node, because that's where I kick up the dust and I actually slow him down. So that would be a good starting point for our drift. So go ahead and click Add Rotation Node here. You can see it adds this rotation handle here. This by itself isn't going to do us a lot of good, because the car is just going to hit it. It's going to snap to this rotation for one frame and then snap back to the spline rotation. So what we want to do is define a segment of the spline to control this rotation over. So if you come in here in the inspector, you can see we've got a few fields here. We've got a start rotation and an end rotation. Okay, and then we've got 4 T values. Okay, we'll go over each of these. Let's just start with the start T1. That matches up to this start rotation, which is this rotation here. This NT, if we slide this out, you'll see that it creates the end rotation here, and we can slide that along the spline to have it end where we'd like it to. So maybe we want to end it right around there. And let's get our car and bring it over there. So what's going to happen now is he's going to come in here and he's going to hit this first rotation node, and he's going to snap to that rotation. Okay? And then he's going to blend from this rotation to this rotation as he moves along this segment. Okay? And then when he hits this rotation there, he's going to snap back to the spline rotation like that. Okay? So now, obviously, that's not really the rotation we want. So we're going to come in here and adjust that. So, having him near this point, this car is going to have the rotation that it would have as it's interpolating, as it's blending from this rotation to the next. So what I can do is I can put him close to this, and I can rotate this, and you see the car rotates with it, to see where I'd want him to be at the start. So as he comes in here, I probably want him to start to do just a little bit of drift like that, maybe. Okay, and then he's going to come along, and we're going to fix the end one here. So as he comes out, we're going to move him here. Now just to show you, okay, so that's where he is there. I could still change this, right, and it's going to show you where the blend would be, where his rotation would be in the blend if I'm moving this. Okay. So ideally you just kind of want to match these up at the end. You want to move the car as close to these rotation nodes as you can to kind of get the rotation at this point that you want. So let's rotate him so he's going to be facing out this way when he finishes. So maybe back to the spline. Maybe we want him still to have just a little bit of a fishtail, something like that maybe. And now if we drag him and scrub him along the spline here, we can see him blend. So he comes in, he hits that, and he starts his drift, comes out here, goes there, snaps back to the spline when it hits that, and he's like that. So again, right now, when he hits this first rotation, he's just going to snap to this rotation. Okay, and the same when he gets out here, he's going to snap back to the spline rotation. Now it's not too bad here because we're not doing any major rotations away from the spline in the start or the end. But still, we don't like this kind of snap, right? We want to blend into it smoothly. So to do that, you'll come back here to your rotation node, and we'll go back to these two other T values that we talked about earlier, or mentioned. There's this blend in T and a blend out T. Okay, so if we move this one back a little ways, you can see in the scene, you got a little red dot that extends backwards, and we can just put that where we want, and that is the blend in. So what's going to happen is the car is going to come here. As soon as it hits here, it's going to start blending from its current rotation to this rotation, our start rotation. So it's going to be nice and smooth. And then we can do the same thing for the end. Okay, we'll push this out a little bit. You can see as I do that, the car picks up that rotation, the blend rotation, and it adjusts it. Okay, so let's just say maybe we'll have them blend out that far. Okay, now if we take our car, we can now see that as it comes along, it hits that node, and see it's already starting to blend into that rotation. So it's nice and smooth now. Okay, it comes around, and he comes here, and he's gonna, has a tiny bit of fishtail there, which is fine, and comes out like that. Okay, so let's just go ahead and see what that looks like. Change the view up a little bit here. There he goes. Maybe move this a bit so you can see the blend in. Blends in, does his drift, corrects, speeds back up, and goes out. So that's how you use these rotation blend nodes. They can be used, all over. They can overlap. They can do, whatever you'd like to do to control these rotations along the spline. They are not tied to control points, so they can literally be any segment of the spline that you like. So I hope you find this useful. And if you have any questions, comments, or something you want me to cover in a video, just send me a message, splinekit@gmail.com, splinekit one word, and I'll be happy to look at that and see if I can make a video or something, or answer any questions you have. So that's it for today. Thanks for joining me.